here we are with one of the biggest releases of the summer with Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, like every other Marvel or DC movie that I review, this is strictly coming from a movie perspective. Was the movie good or bad? I never have claimed to be a Marvel expert because I am not. But what I will first give Marvel and DC props for is creating movies that are drawing interest from people that may not be interested in the topic. But Fantastic Four First Steps is officially out. We see the four have to fight together to stop Galactus and Silver Surfer. There's nothing spoiler about that. It's based on what you see directly on the advertisements. But what you really want to look at when it comes to this movie is how does it play out overall? Now, as somebody that is not a big Marvel person, I have grown to have a little bit of an interest in the genre, really based on Deadpool and Wolverine. And I know that's kind of like a novice within the category, but it is something that has drawn my interest. Now, with Fantastic Four First Steps, the one point that I want to make is I feel like this is a perfectly placed film within the summer. Summer is winding down. School is ending. It is that last big release before my school even goes back. But what I really enjoy about this film is it's only an hour and 50 so minutes. With it being that short of a time, I feel like it hits the points that it needs to hit. And I think when you are looking for a movie like this, you want it to be engaging and entertaining throughout. And I think this one does. Now, going in, I will admit I was a little worried about seeing Pedro Pascal again in another movie. And I think a lot of that is coming with a little bit of fatigue with him. Vanessa Kirby, I love Vanessa Kirby. I think she is an excellent actress. And if you've not seen her in The Crown, go watch her there. But I think the four key characters within this movie do an outstanding job. I think even with the voice, I think what you really have is a placement that allows the movie to flow. Each point within the film has somewhat of a purpose. And one of the things that I read before going in was somebody said it almost feels as you're turning the page within a comic book. And as the movie played on, I really kind of felt that it played and flowed like a comic book. And that made this overall worth a watch. Now, I will be going back to watch this movie in 3D. As the movie got to key action scenes, I will look at it and say, I wish I saw it in a 3D format. But now let's kind of get into the pros and cons. I think one thing that stands out right away, as I've already said, is the length, but just the way you're able to sit down and enjoy what is on the screen. For somebody that is not a Marvel fan, I feel that you are able to understand each situation that is taking place within the screen. First Steps has a symbolic title, in my opinion, and I feel like you see where that symbolism comes throughout the movie. I also think when you're looking at the characters within, you understand what their overall role is. You understand that the Fantastic Four are the group that everybody on Earth and really in the city enjoy. But I think the biggest takeaway and the biggest pro was I really enjoyed the first about 10 to 20 minutes where they are introducing the characters. They are introducing how they became the Fantastic Four. They're allowing people like me to understand, hey, this is who they are, this is what their purpose is, and I think that was an excellent thing to do. Now, for 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon, it was hard to find a seat within the theater. This theater was absolutely packed, and luckily I had nobody by me. Always choose the row with 2 seats. But it was one of those things where it almost made you feel as if Marvel is back. Superheroes are back. And what I mean by that is you are kind of seeing this rejuvenation of the genre. It's attracting people that may not be as interested as some, including myself. But it's one of those things where people are becoming more focused and really more creating that sense of, I cannot wait, that enjoyment for the next movies to come out that have been announced. Now, if we had to look at a con, I really don't feel like I can sit here and say there is a significant con. But I will point out the way that the big scene is a way that you could say it. The way that the big scene plays out, I kind of wish that would have been done a little bit different. Now, I'm not going to spoil how that takes place, but I feel like when I was watching it, a part of me felt like it was too basic. You had such a good movie, and ultimately you get to that point right there, and I'm like, it makes sense, but how could we have done this a little bit differently to create it and make it more engaging? And so for me, that is really the drawback. But like I said, what I saw today showed that Marvel is back in full force. It never went away, obviously, but I feel like there is more of a sense of engagement with these new releases, what is coming out, and I think that is a good sign for people that are fans of the genre. Now, for rating, for me, I think the Fantastic Four First Steps is a 4.5 out of 5. This was a fun movie. It was enjoyable to watch. It flowed very well. You could understand it as even if you are not a fan of Marvel. But it was one of those things where when you're sitting in that packed theater watching what's happened, I don't have many times where people like give those claps, but there were pretty much, I would say about 80% of the theater started clapping at the end. And what that told me was a majority of them felt that this movie was a good movie. And so for me, it is right up there with some of the recent releases, but it is out now. If you go see it, drop a comment, let me know what you think of the film. Like I said, I will see it again in 3D to kind of compare. But Fantastic Four First Steps is out now. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you all later.